Kevin Durant is pretty much expected to be on the move this summer, and now Toronto is popping up all over the place as a potential landing spot. Jake Fisher at the Steinline says that a bunch of NBA insiders see the Raptors as a legit suitor for KD, especially if Giannis Antetokounmpo stays put in Milwaukee. Fisher points out that Durant seems like a more realistic target than Giannis, since KD's only got 1 year left on his deal, which is about $54 million for 2025 and 26, so he'd likely come cheaper in a trade. In short, the Raptors have the history. They went after Durant back in 2022 and the assets to make something happen, and they're definitely not shy about chasing stars when the chance comes. On the other hand, Giannis' situation is still kind of up in the air. Doug Smith at the Toronto Star says there's definitely mutual interest between Giannis and the Raptors too. Giannis has been pretty non-committal about staying in Milwaukee, and Raptors president Masai Ujiri has always loved the idea of getting him on the roster. He even tried to draft Giannis way back in 2013. League insiders think Toronto has more than anyone to offer for Giannis since they control all their future first-round picks and have plenty of good wings and big contracts to help match salaries. Basically, the Raptors could put together a trade with young players like Scottie Barnes or RJ Barrett plus some picks without totally gutting their team. But it's not all that simple. Giannis is 30 years old and has a massive contract around $54 million in 2025-26 and $58 million in 2026-27, with a player option in 2027-28. Any team that trades for him would have to take on at least 2 full seasons of that salary. Durant, who's 36, has just 1 year at about $54 million, and the team that gets him could sign him to a 2-year extension right away. Realistically, Toronto would probably have to trade 2 of its starters to make the salaries match up. Maybe RJ Barrett, plus Jakob Poeltl or Emmanuel Quickley, according to some reports. The Raptors also have the number 9 pick in this year's draft and all their future first-rounders, giving them extra trade chips. For Giannis, a trade might require including Scottie Barnes, but some analysts, like Eric Koreen from The Athletic, say that giving up Barnes plus picks might not actually put the Raptors in a better spot than Milwaukee is right now. Behind the trade rumors is a look at Toronto's roster. They've got young talent and some expiring contracts they can throw into deals. Key names here are RJ Barrett, making about $25 million in 2024-25, Jakob Poeltl, $19 million and expiring in 2025, and Emmanuel Quickley, $32 million. Those salaries can help match big contracts and trades. And the Raptors have a lot of wings, so they can trade some guys and still have depth. Doug Smith even says they could give up a strong combination of young players and veterans without becoming short-handed. If Toronto went for Durant, the Suns would probably want some of those players plus some high draft picks to start rebuilding around Devin Booker. For Giannis, Toronto could throw in multiple first-rounders and role players, again using that future draft capital, since they own all their future firsts, to sweeten the deal. It's important to note that Scottie Barnes, the 23-year-old star, is basically considered untouchable in any trade talk. The Raptors have a history of making bold moves. Masai Ujiri is known for taking big swings. Remember when he traded DeMar DeRozan to the Spurs for Kawhi Leonard in 2018? That cost them just 1 first-round pick, and it ended up bringing home a championship in 2019. Ujiri also loves picking up star players on expiring deals, like Serge Ibaka in 2017, Kawhi in 2018, Poeltl in 2023, Quickley in 2024, and Brandon Ingram in 2024. That's kind of his thing, going after high-upside trades even if it means spending big. Lately, insiders say the Raptors front office is under a lot of pressure to bring in a real difference maker. The team hasn't made the playoffs since 2022, and the fans are hungry for a competitive squad again. Of course, nothing is set in stone. The Suns and Bucks ultimately decide if they want to trade their stars, and they'll both want a big return. Raptors insiders are quick to remind everyone that all this talk is still just rumors for now. But given Ujiri's history and the fact that people like Jake Fisher and Doug Smith are reporting this stuff, it's clear that Toronto is at least preparing for a big move. Whether it's Durant or Giannis, a trade like that would completely reshape the Raptors' future. This summer could get pretty wild, and we'll all be watching to see if this bold plan actually happens.